In this video, we'll be talking about numbers and counting. So for most of us, we've mastered counting and mastered our number work, and it's hard to remember how hard it was to learn. But I want to let you know that counting is difficult. We're going to look at some number work by a kindergarten student. This is from the website mathmistakes.org, where teachers can upload student math mistakes and get some help thinking about why those students might have made the mistakes that they did. So this kindergarten counting mistake, you can see at the top of the page, there's a bunch of work by the kindergartner who is on their way, but not quite there, to being able to write the numbers 1 through 24. And at the bottom, the teacher has helpfully provided a key to help us interpret the student work. So we're going to take a minute to dive into why the student might have made some of these mistakes. All right, so when we're working with numbers, the first thing we have to do is memorize a bunch of words. So we have to memorize the words 1, 2, 3, 4, and we have to memorize them in order. Then we have to learn how to write a bunch of different symbols. So in the base 10 system that we use, we have the symbols that correspond to the numerals 0 through 9. So here you can see, for example, the number 7 still has some work for figuring out how to write the number 7. Then once we have all of these numerals and we have 0 through 9, we start putting them together, and the order that we put them together matters. 1, 3 versus 3, 1 have different meanings. So on top of that, then we have some language and some other difficulties that happen. So let's take a look here where the student messed up the order. So here, 3, 1 versus 23. So why might a student have been able to write 23 with the numbers in the right order, but not 13? Well, think about those words. With the number 23, the first word that we say, 20, corresponds to the first symbol that we write, and the second word that we say in the second one. So 23 becomes 2, 3. It's the same for 33, 43, 53, 63. We establish a pattern that's pretty easy to understand, but it doesn't work with the teens. The first thing that we say for 13 is actually the second number that we write. So that difficulty in the teens with the order that we say things versus the order that we write things is probably what happened with this student. Then you can see the other teens were a problem too. So here are 60, 70, 80, 90. If we look at 60 right here, that's probably a language difficulty. So as you're learning a new language, new sets of words, here distinguishing as you listen between 60 and 16, they sound very similar. And if you weren't listening carefully, you might get those mixed up in your head. So that may be what happened with this student, that 60 and 16 sound similar, and they've gotten their wires crossed a little bit in figuring out the difference between writing them. So there's a lot that goes into this number work and writing down the numbers 1 through 24. And there's even more that goes into counting a set of objects. So let's look at some of the additional skills needed for counting. So of course we still need this list that we've memorized in order, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we have a couple more skills. Students need to develop an understanding of one-to-one correspondence. And this just means that they associate exactly one number with exactly one object. So let's do some counting. I'll draw some objects, and when we count them, we have to have our list of numbers in order, and every number is associated with one object. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Every object was matched with one number. The next thing that we need to have is a sense of cardinality. So cardinality just means that the last number that you said when counting tells how many objects have been counted. So let's say we have some children playing tag and we want to count them. So one-to-one correspondence, 1, 2, 3 children playing tag, but the last number that we said was 3, which means that the total number of children playing tag are 3. So 3 is associated with that third child, but it's also associated with the entire set of objects, or the set of children in this case. Well, cardinality is important because it allows us to count on. So if we had 2 more children join our tag game, There's no need to count them from the beginning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 children playing tag. Instead, we can count on. We knew we had 3 children playing tag, so then we can just pick up where we left off with counting 4, 5 total children playing tag. So this idea of counting on is really helpful as we do something like add 18 plus 2. If you were counting on, you could say 18, 19, 20. No need to start from 1 right there. So counting on is important to be successful later in math. Let's look at the Common Core State Standards for a moment. So if we look at kindergarten, you can see there's an entire strand, counting and cardinality, and this is working with exactly the kinds of skills that we've been talking about. You can see that we are starting at a number and counting on, associating one number with one object. This is a big task in kindergarten mathematics.